Today, the painting is a fun one. It's fun in so many different ways, but it's fun because it's a tiger in the water. Let me show it to you. So that's what I painted today using watercolor and pen and ink considerably a lot for some of the darker areas. And then a little bit of gouache for those little white whiskers. You see those white whiskers? Isn't that cool? That is a cool thing. And there's more than one way to paint a tiger, but that's the way I did it. I'm going to show you how I did that. So I already did the video, as you know, so I know what's coming up. But I tell you about a couple of tigers, and the one I wanted to mention here, the intro, is the tiger that is owned by the couple that Robin and I know here in Ocala. They actually own a tiger, and it lives with them, and it's their pet. And I'm gonna say his name is Max, and Robin and I have met Max in person. There was a fence between us. He doesn't live in a cage, but they keep him away from people like me. Thank goodness. But no, they say he's just like a house pet, and he's huge. He's got to be several hundred pounds, got to be. But it's just incredible. And when you think about how God has made us so that we can respect the other life forms on this planet, the tigers and the hamsters, just amazing. And anyway, that's all I want to say. I don't really have anything really philosophical to say, but I will show you how I painted this tiger right now. Good morning, everybody. Yes, it's about time to begin another painting. For those who've never seen the paints I use most of the time, it's Winsor Newton Cotman watercolor paint. And it's not the only watercolor you can use. Obviously there's a lot of them, but this is the brand name of these two trays right here, these two pans, and I'll be using them again today. First, however, I'm going to start with a pencil. You want to know who made the pencil? Gosh, I don't even know. I'm just being silly here. USA Gold is what it says. America's pencil. I'm just being silly. So today, I want to do a tiger. And I got so much good response from yesterday's chipmunk. I thought I would do a tiger. So I have an idea to make it pretty much the whole, like his face, the whole thing here, but I want him in the water too. So that means I have to keep a little bit area down here. That will be reflected in the water here. So I want to make sure I have that part right. So let's just get this part here. There's the eye and the way the nose comes around. It looks like it comes up here. And then this part goes here. I'm just really roughly sketching it right now. Very rough because I haven't really studied tigers. I have a friend who I've known since 1972, and he has Down syndrome, and he lives in a group home now. He's let's see, he was born in 60, so that would make him what, 64 now, I guess, something like that. And he loves tigers. Oh my gosh. I think it's because of the high school football team from the town he lived in when I was younger, when he was younger, when we were younger. See, I was 11 years old when I met him. And no, I'm sorry, I was 17 years old when I met him. He was 11. He was the 11-year-old. I was 17. And still friends today. At that time, when he was 11, he lived with his mom and grandmother. And yeah, we became buddies. I used to take him fishing and shopping and whatever. I still do some of that. I don't go fishing with him anymore. He's got some health issues now, but I just took him out on Easter Sunday. We went. Where did we go? Oh, we came here, right? No, we went to Robin's mom's house. That's right. We went to Robin's mom's house and had a nice dinner. And so anyway, so he loves tigers. His name is Doug, by the way. And Doug loves tigers. And not only does he love them, but listen to this. He actually one time had enough money to go into a tattoo parlor. Yeah, he's never had much money because he just never has. But he went into he had enough money for a tattoo, I guess. I wasn't with him when he did it, but I went over one time to bring him something, and he had a tattoo of a tiger on his arm. I was like, oh my gosh, he got a tattoo. He was so excited to show me. Yeah. So the tiger has so many dots. Stripes, I mean, not dots. That would be a leopard, right? So many dots. This line looks like it's almost directly in line with that line. So I try to look at the lines, and I will use the pen and ink to accentuate some of these dark colors. The curve of that nose, I think, is important too. I probably need to make it a little bit different angle. I think it needs to be more like this. Yeah, that looks better. I think there's a sharper. Right here, sharper, a little bit sharper. So, are you guys using AI at all? I've been experimenting with AI as a tool to describe the art. I don't know. I use Fine Art America for a lot of my art, as far as displaying it or selling it or whatever. And they make they could take your art and make it onto a card, for example, like the originals I do here. They will print duplicates of them, and they make shower curtains and handbags and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay, let's get this guy's going here. Get some of the directions, some of these stripes. And anyway, so on Fine Art America, they have a new AI thing where it'll describe the art that you uploaded. It looks at it somehow, and it knows it's a picture of a tiger, for example, or a chipmunk. I haven't uploaded that picture yet, but all right, I'm not so happy with that nose yet. I'll get it. It takes a while. But when God made creatures, he sure made them so that they could survive, eat, provide shelter for themselves, provide a way to defend themselves. And oh my gosh, it's just incredible when you think about it. I watched this, I read this thing from William Shatner. He said he was 90 years old, and after playing a guy who was always in outer space, he finally went into space. And instead of being amazed at space, he was amazed and saddened by the minuscule area of the universe that we occupy, and how we have done so much harm to this little planet that we call home. It's very profound and very true. And there's so much about our world that hopefully now we're at a point where we're starting to realize all the mistakes we've made, not just with the environment, but even with each other. You know, we have a long history of being mean to each other. Isn't that sad? Or maybe that's the way we're supposed to evolve. Maybe that's part of what happens in our existence, is to learn from our mistakes, and hopefully before things get too bad. There's so much going on in the world. And, you know, and there's two things I think about. I think about us as a group, as a whole people, and also us as individuals. So we grow as individuals, but we also grow as collectively as people. I watched this thing where somebody was talking about going back to the 80s, somebody who has fond memories of the 80s. And it was a comedy bit, but the woman doing the talking said that she wants to go back to the 80s because she liked the music and the movies, but she wanted to bring with her the things that we've improved as far as living as a society, the things that we've improved. And individually, I think some of us have improved a lot. But collectively, I'm not so sure about that. This little guy has lots of stripes. And you know, they're not just stripes, they're designs. I wonder if a tiger has like unique designs. Like, is each tiger different? I guess I could study that a little bit. So I'm just putting some of these markings on him. Yes, so I know a lady and a man who own a tiger. Yes, I mean a real tiger. And he lives with them like a pet. And he's a beautiful tiger. I think his name is Max. And, you know, it seems like a scary thing to own a tiger. But the tiger is very sweet, at least to her. I don't know if I'd be wanting to live with a tiger. Just trying to get all these stripes on it. There's so many. What I like about this picture too, and there's some white whiskers right here that come down from him. All right, I gotta get this other ear in here. There's his eye. There's the beginning of his ear. So the ear actually has to go into the back of the card. So that part of the ear won't be as visible as... I probably should have centered it better. That's okay. Gives it a little extra touch. Now see right here too, these little white hairs here. So I'll just roughly sketch them in, because I keep them white. Over here too, there's some white hairs. Trying to figure all these little black areas here. I'll probably use pen and ink to take care of a lot of that. Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Yeah, all these little areas where he's got stripes. So Robert and I did when we did radio broadcasts, we went over to the house of the couple that owned the tiger, Max. And we got to see Max. And he was in a cage in a very beautiful enclosure. Oh my gosh. When I say a cage, I don't mean like you would see like in the old-fashioned zoos. I mean just to keep him away from people, because you never know, I guess. But he just was beautiful. He was laying there. He had his own swimming pool and just seemed really content, really happy. Hope I'm doing this right. Got another white eyebrow hair right there. Here's where the water and his body meet. He's got these bold, very bold stripes on his back. I think I'm challenging myself with some of these pictures I've been doing. It doesn't just, you have to really pay attention to what you're doing. Otherwise it doesn't look good. And it doesn't always look good even when you pay attention. It doesn't always work out that way. Here we go. And then down here will be more of the stripes, more of the reflections. Over here, there's a shadow over here in the water. Just want to remember all these things. That's why I'm sketching them in. And basically, it's just water all the way through the top. And then his... So I think I got him. I think I got the sketch done. Okay, so now let me get some of the ink marks on him. I don't think the dark ink is going to be necessary for his eye, because he's got these beautiful green eyes, or like greenish yellow eyes. So I'm going to just do the eyes liner. Then I'll use the paint to get the actual eye in there. Get some of these stripes here. I think the eyeliner really makes him look awesome. This side of his face is in the shadow, so it'll be darker. And then he's got some very, very stark darkness right here. This can be very dark. Got a very dark tip to his ear. And this side of this ear is also very dark. Some of these dark areas around his eyes, around his nose, let's see. His nostril is like very dark. Sometimes I think if you want to know a little hack or a little trick, now I didn't do it this time, but I think a little trick is to take the photo that you're using, the reference photo, and convert it to black and white, and then increase the contrast enough so that some of the dark areas are super dark. And then you have an idea of where the shadows are better, and you can even work it that way and then pull back as you're doing the painting. Does that make sense? I could show you that, I guess, one day. But if you think about it, just in a reference photo, if you can, try to bring it down to its basic black and white form. So you get some of these dark areas dark. Since it's hair, it probably is okay to do it as a crosshatch, or as, well, not crossing it, but just like lots of little lines, almost like pointillism with lines. Do you know the difference between a male tiger and a female tiger? Just by looking at them. I don't know if I know the difference. Like a lion seems to have a completely different look, the male and the female. And the tiger, I'm not so sure. Keeping some of these dark areas. Yeah, I think doing this as a crosshatch, or as, I'm not really crossing them, but these little tiny lines, I guess I'll call it linear pointillism. How about we call it that? Give it a name. So it's like pointillism, but with lines. And I think it's going to add to the look of hair. I really do. I think that's a kind of an accidental happy accident here. An accidental happy accident. What did I just say? Happy accidents. That's a Bob Ross thing. I love that expression too. Happy accidents happen in everything, not just in art. Right? You're working on your car and you don't know much about car mechanics like me, and then you somehow get it right. That's a happy accident. Or like sometimes Robin's mother's TV goes nutty on her. Her remote control does something crazy and she asks me to fix it. And I always enter into the challenge thinking, I don't know how to do this, but then I'll just mess with the buttons and kind of, I don't know, just trial and error. Next thing you know, it's fixed. Kind of cool. Yeah, I'm using a lot of ink on this one. I think it's a good thing because then when I get to the paint, a lot of this will be done already. But it'll still have that watercolor look, I think, especially since I'm doing these as little lines. Yeah, so you fix things, you have a happy accident, you fix things. I guess we've all experienced that, right? There's a little pointillism on his nose right there. I'm going to say that they don't all have the same pattern of stripes. I'm going to say they're all different, like fingerprints. Do you hear that bird outside? It sounds like it's calling a dog. It sounds like it's a human whistling for a dog. There's a bird that lives in the trees around here, a breed of bird, not just one bird. But it sounds like it's saying So when my son was a little guy, now that I have a grandson, I hope I can do this with him. I would say to the bird, "Are you a bird?" And then the bird would say, And I'd say, "You're not a bird?" And it would say, And I would say, "Are you a cow?" And it would say, And I would say, "I think you are a bird." And it would say, And it would make my son laugh. He thought that was funny. So now that I'm a grandpa, I'm a papa. I'm looking forward to doing that one day with my little guy. I haven't had an opportunity to be outside when I heard one of those birds. It has to be just right. You have to get the bird like doing that thing, so you can look up at the tree or at the power line, Yeah, this guy's starting to look like a tiger now. I wasn't so sure when I first got started here. So he's got a lot of darkness in the water too, so go ahead and put it in there. Plus some of these lines are reflecting in the water. I remember there's a lot of white little lines here. Now I think it's possible and a good idea to thinking forward to how I'm going to do this. I probably should prepare myself if I don't get all the little white lines in here. I mean the black line. The white lines, I probably should have just use some gouache. I'll probably plan on doing that. I use some gouache for the little white lines, the little white whiskers. Right now, I feel like I'm mostly doing ink, and I am mostly doing ink. Ink and pencil, right? There's a big bold stripe right there. It goes down him, and then it reflects in the water. And he's very well lit on this side of his body too. And some of these stripes are very fine. It does have up here, it's got a very intense look with his eye, and I think it's caused by the fact that there's a pupil right at the top of his eye. He knows what he's looking at. Yeah, he's got his eye on something. Oh my gosh. You don't stand a chance if you're out in the jungle and one of these guys jumps on you, you're gone. You have gone to heaven. Your body has become his dinner. I don't want to think about that. That's crazy to think about that, isn't it? Trying to make some semblance of some roughly sketched in darkness, because there's darkness underneath the lightness that the paint will reveal. Let me get to the paint. And is he orange or is he orange brown? I think he's orange brown. No, we're going to have fun with the paint part of this. I think I'm ready for the paint part. There, now I hear a crow. Do you hear the crow right there? Okay, Mr. Tiger, I think we're ready to start painting you. Alright, so let's go for the first, most obvious thing, which is the orange color. Let's go ahead and add some of that. I'll experiment with it a little bit over here first. Get it wet. Does that look right? Maybe add a little bit yellow to it. Right, let's go ahead and add that to his nose. Keep the parts white that are white. Right around his eye, it's white. Right under here. Got a lot of white right there. This whole area is white. Kind of mix the yellow and the white together. Boy, I hope I get this guy looking good. Right now I'm kind of experimenting with the colors. It's darker over here because that's the shadow. It's really a beautiful animal, isn't it? The tiger. And now let's get a little bit of that color down here in the reflection. Again, this has got to be darker because of the shadow. See how nicely that ink is working? It makes it so much easier to do this. Alright, now what I want to do, I'm going to take the little brush. Where's my little brush? This one right here. Oh my gosh, I gotta get his eyes. First of all, his nose is kind of a pinkish. Let's see if I can get that color. His nose is a little bit pink. I'll try and get that. Got a lot of light on it also. Just leave it like that. That's good enough. Just a little hint. And there's the white area on his mouth is in the shade. I'm going to use purple for that. I know it's not actually purple, but I'm going to use that to create the illusion of a shadow. Just a little bit here and there. Do the same thing up here. Some of the shadow in his ear. And if I add that purple to the orange I already have on his side here, not too dark, just a hint of it. Then it'll darken that side, you see? See how nicely that looks? And that white will be very much in the shadows. Yeah, I definitely think I'm going to use the gouache to accentuate the whites. So let me use this. This is working nicely as a shadow color. Mixing the purple with the orange, it kind of gives it a really cool look, doesn't it? Even to darken some of these stripes beyond what I did with the pen. I do think so. Yes. So what color are tiger stripes? They're purple. It's a trivia question. And of course down here we'll have to reflect it in the water too. Well, it makes for a nice illustration, this purple. It's kind of like the golden light of the morning, or the dusk part of the day. Changes the colors, changes the way colors look. I think that's working nicely. Let me just keep going for that. I think I'm just going to keep doing that. See, now it doesn't look so purple. It doesn't stand out when it's used elsewhere in the picture. I think one of the keys here is going to be the contrast, not only of dark and light, but also of color, if that makes sense. Yeah, see, it's counterintuitive, isn't it, to add purple here, but it seems to be working. Let me blend it a little more. All right, let's try and get some. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more of that purple into his coat. I'll go ahead and add more orange to it also. So this part of his face is very dark. It's very much in the shadow. So I'll go ahead and use that orange to bring that. Let me lift some of that up. It's a little bit too dark, I think. All right, now that's the eyes. Let's think about those eyes. They are a very, almost like a yellow, green. So let's try to get them. Make sure the bottom parts are the brightest parts. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, I think. So adding these little lines here so that, again, it looks like hair, almost fur. Adding some more orange to make it a little bit richer, I think. I think that's what I'm trying to do here. All right, now, basically we have the tiger done. We gotta get the rest of it done. And I do think one of the cool parts is going to be adding those little white lines once we get the dark background in there. Maybe a little bit more red to his nose. Right there. And maybe a little more purple down at the bottom there. Okay. Now we gotta make sure we have it so that the background is, because there's not much to the background, it's just a bunch of water, and actually starts right there, you see, because that's where the white hair of his ear is very bright. And so let me just start brushing in what I think the background should look like. And I'll just start in some a collaborative bunch of colors, just a bunch of different colors, because he's in the water. I want to make sure I get that right there. So we have the hair. Of course, the white reflections in the water are pretty important. I'll probably have to do more than one layer on this little guy. Well, of the water behind him. This big guy, I should say, he's not a little guy. He's a big guy. Alright, now I'm going to make it dark. And then over here too. He's got a dark shadow right here in the water. Okay. Drag some of this around. Okay, now I think the only thing I want to add here, a little depth right there, I guess. I want to add those little white lines. I'm going to use gouache for that. I'll clean my brush first, and clean this brush. Okay. Now let's get out the white gouache. Alright, there's my white gouache. It's made by Master's Touch. Some of you like to know that. That's the brand right there, if you can see it. Here's the box. Master's Touch. You see it? Alright, now let's hope I get this right. I wonder. Well, I'm going to go ahead and try the paintbrush, and I hope I get it right. So first I'm going to try the ear. Get some of that white paint. Little hairs coming off the ear. And over here too. Could put just a little bit of paint on there. Get some of those white hairs coming off. He's got these whiskers. Oh, that looks kind of cool. I don't think I want to overdo it though. Some of these whiskers are very long. Yeah, that seems to be working. I hope. I can't think of a better way to add this white. These white whiskers. See, I was thinking maybe I could use a pin or something that's not a brush. I've tried pins in other items before, but they don't hold the paint like a brush holds the paint. It's got little whiskers coming down. Some very long whiskers. He's got some on the side of his face too, not just on his snout. I think the whiskers have a little, like when the whiskers hit the water, there's a little bit of a dot right where the whisker hits the water. And then there's a little bit of a reflection of the whisker also in the water. Let's get back to that hair on the ear. He's got a whisker that comes off of his eyebrow right here. And some white hairs over here. Coming off of his ear. You get a little bit of this. A little bit on the side of his face. Some of these white hairs cross over into those black sections. He's got a little bit of white, a couple of white eyelashes too, believe it or not. You know what? I don't want to overdo it. He's a little bit more hairy than I made it look, so let me put some more. But I don't want to overdo it. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do with that. Get the brush clean so that the gouache doesn't dry on it, because it's easier to wash off watercolor if you forget, but it's harder when it's gouache. That is impossible when it's acrylic. All right, one more thing, and I think he's done. But I see a little silhouette of a man. No, that's all I'm going to say. I see a couple of black whiskers. I see one there. Some of the whiskers are black. I think we got our tiger done. Tiger in the water. I think he's done. So there you go. What's that Katy Perry song? Roar. 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 Hope you like it. It's pretty dry. Let me fold it. I see that ear goes up to the top. And there we go. There's our card. Our tiger card. All right. See you later.